The Creality K2 Combo promises easy multicolor printing, but after testing it extensively, one thing surprised me more than I expected. I ran several multicolor test prints using it with the Creality CFS to see how well it actually performs. The Creality K2 Combo and the filament from MacPow used in this review were provided by Geekbuying. They are known by tech enthusiasts for 3D printers, smart home tech and more. With EU, US and UK warehouses, they make cross-border shopping reliable and worry-free. When this video comes out, there will be a sale on Geekbuying where you can get the Creality K2 Combo for a nice price. Check out the link in the description and use the code provided. With its build volume of 260 by 260 by 260 mm, the Creality K2 Combo is a budget-friendly entry to multicolor 3D printing in the K2 series. It doesn't have the active heated print chamber, therefore printing ABS may be tougher than with the Creality Plus or Pro, which come with an even larger print volume, though from my experience the provided build volume will cover the most prints to do. The Creality K2 Combo comes in a huge and heavy box, and after carrying it into my studio alone, I know why they put the stickers on it. Let's take a quick look at the contents of the box. If you're not interested in the unboxing, then skip this part and continue watching with the next chapter. First, we have the quick start guide, an after-sales warranty card. The box also contains a display, a spool holder, a filament buffer, some PTFE tubes, as well as spare PTFE tubes, a connection cable to connect your CFS to the printer, some Creality filament, the usual tools, a cutter and a power cable. The setup is straightforward. Remove the package materials and the lid on the side. Take the foam parts out. Pull off the Z-axis fasteners and remove the 4 screws that secure the bed during transport. Loosen the display cable by carefully peeling off the tape that holds it and pull it through the slot in the case. Then connect it and slide it into place. Then put the lid on top. Next comes the Creality CFS. Put the desiccant bags in and place it on the lid on top of the printer. Then use 2 buffer screws to mount it to the bag. The side with only one outlet should point to the left. We need to install the connection cable for the CFS, one longer, which goes to the bottom side and up into the CFS, and a shorter one which goes from the buffer to the CFS. Then we have 2 PTFE tubes. The short one goes from the buffer, any of the 4 outlets, to the CFS. And the long tube goes from the buffer outlet into the Creality inlet. The Creality K2 Combo is equipped with field-oriented controlled step servo motors to achieve consistent results at high accelerations and speeds. Together with a sturdy frame, the precision steel X-axis rail and the linear rods the gantry slides on in the Y-axis prevent positioning errors and layer shifts that otherwise would ruin your 3D prints. The extrusion system of the Creality K2 Combo has powerful hardened steel gears, providing enough force to get high flow rates up to 40 mm³ per second in combination with its efficient hardened steel nozzle. One engineering detail of the Creality K2 Combo impressed me: the cutting mechanism. I think it's an ingenious idea how they solved it. The cutting blade sits in the extruder at the side and is held there in released position by an incorporated magnet, so the filament can pass without problems. When a filament change requires a cut, the printhead moves to the left where you see a pin. The cut is then performed by a high accelerated quick push of the head against that pin, which in turn slams the cutting blade through the filament and returns. Once the cut is done, the color change procedure at the back of the printer starts by retracting the current filament, loading the new color and taking care of the purging and cleaning of the nozzle to continue printing with the new color. It will be interesting to take a closer look at the blade to check its durability after all the tests. Now plug in the power cable and turn on the Creality K2 Combo. Stop! Before turning it on, let's take a look inside. There's still one screw under the sticker. Okay, now that all screws are loose, I can remove the back cover. This looks very nice. We have the mains covered and it's crimped with ferrules. The same applies to the power supply. Nicely crimped cables here. So this looks very safe, and very important too is that the ground earth is connected. So I can continue and start the printer. Now the K2 Combo is fully assembled and the CFS is linked up, it's time for the first power on and calibration. Follow the instructions on the display, choosing your language, connect the printer to a network, bind it to the Creality Cloud and do the self-calibration, after which it is ready for the first print. You can get root access to it and modify the configuration of the installed Klipper. Let's see how loading the filament with the Creality CFS works. After putting in the first spool and feeding the end of the filament into the PTFE tube, the CFS automatically pulls it in. After some movements forth and back to determine the correct lengths and positions, I can continue with the next spool. If you find these deep dives into 3D printing hardware helpful, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. It really helps me continuing bringing these technical reviews to the channel, and you won't miss the upcoming stress tests. The Creality CFS is equipped with RFID readers that can detect the filament and color from Creality RFID spools and set them automatically in the display and slicer. Unfortunately, the Mac Power filament doesn't have RFID tags, but it's not a big deal to use the edit feature on the display to manually set the filament type and color. Additionally, the spring-loaded spool holders help to prevent especially cardboard spools from slipping. Before we dive into the calibration and the Autodesk benchmark results, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, PCBWay. Do your electronic projects still look like this? Or a little more major like this? Getting professional looking DIY projects like this one has never been easier utilizing the services of PCBWay. PCBWay offers high quality PCBs starting as low as $5 for 5 PCBs. Using KiCad with the PCBWay plugin, it is the easiest to get an instant quote. One click prepares and uploads the Gerber files to PCBWay, where you then can adjust and change the available options to your needs, add a stencil, choose their assembly service and more. Then complete the order to get your professional PCBs within a few business days. Besides that, PCBWay also offers high-quality CNC machining, 3D printing services, sheet metal fabrication and more, which makes PCBWay your one-stop shop, no matter if you're a hobbyist or an established company. I found that the Creality K2 Combo works best using Creality Print 7 as slicer. It has all settings and features required and known from other slicers and seamlessly integrates with the Creality K2 Combo. For the test of the Creality K2 Combo, I use this filament from MacPow. I do some calibrations so I know what values will get the best print results. I start with printing a temperature tower, which gives that a printing temperature of 220 degrees Celsius is best. Then I do a 2-pass flow rate test. Combining the two tests result in a flow rate of 0.95. I continue testing for pressure advance to make sure I get sharp corners without under or over extrusion happening when the printhead accelerates and decelerates. A value of 0.05 seems to be the sweet spot here. Finally, I wanted to know the max flow rate for the MacPow filament. I started with a test from 10 cubic millimeter per second going up to 25 cubic millimeter per second. That one looked flawless, so I did a second test from 20 cubic millimeters per second to 35 cubic millimeters per second. And that one came out great as well. Therefore, you can use flow rates up to 35 cubic millimeters per second with the MacPow filament without problems. Now we are ready to start the first multicolor test print. But before, let's take a look at the Creality K2 Combo's precision. To check that, I printed the Autodesk Kickstarter FDM benchmark and the results look amazing. I can't remember that I ever got a result where even the pin with the tightest tolerance for the negative fine feature test almost fell out on its own. Furthermore, the spikes, except of very few stringing, appeared totally perfect, as well as the bridges that didn't sag. The overhangs look great up to 20 degrees. Overall, The Creality K2 Combo masters the test with a great 26.5. I even wouldn't be so hard regarding that very slight stringing and raise that score up to 4, getting a whopping 28. The first layer test shows that the calibration of the bed works really well. It comes out almost perfect and I have to tear it to get the layers apart. Okay, now it's time to do the first multicolor print. I colorized this skeleton stitch model in the slicer and assigned the corresponding MacPow filament colors. Now I upload and start the print job from Creality Slicer. The printer does its homing and the optional calibration procedure. Then cleans the nozzle, loads the first color and prints. When a layer uses multiple colors, it needs to load the new filament by doing a purge, clean and another purge, clean cycle. The poop just falls out at the back. That small stitch took almost 18 hours to print. Most of the time was spent for the color changes. I really didn't expect that multicolor 3D printing takes that much time. Then I printed these lovely braided vases using only 2 colors. The print time for both was about 33 hours. That little skeleton stitch looks so cute that I couldn't resist to print it in XXL size. To save on print time, I oriented it on the build plate to minimize the required color changes. I really didn't expect that printing with multicolors would produce such big piles of poop. Though, when you use the slicer wisely, you can reduce that pile of poop to the minimum. I'm curious, what is your take on multicolor printing? Is the 16-color creative potential worth the extra time and waste to you? Or do you prefer to stick to single color and paint by hand? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear how you weigh that trade-off. The Creality K2 Combo has AI monitoring, which can be enabled to verify that a build plate is good to start a print and to detect print anomalies and failures during prints. In case something goes wrong, it protects the printer and the print by entering a pause state. The contenders in the same price class on the market all offer similar print speeds of 600 mm per second and accelerations of 20,000 mm per second cubed. So you may ask, what is special about the Creality K2 Combo compared to the other multicolor printers? Let's see. Its build volume with 260 mm cube is one of the largest you can get. Only the Bambu P1S Combo with 265 mm cube gets close to it. The CFS has a nice display showing the status of the filament slots as well as the temperature and humidity. A nice touch. But I wished it also had a dryer integrated into the CFS like the Anycubic Cobra S1 Combo has. The 4.3-inch touch display makes it easy to control and monitor the current print status. Not such a dull, outdated display than the Bambu Lab P1S has. Finally, the Creality K2 Combo isn't a black box like the Bambu Lab. You can get root access to it and modify the configuration of the installed Klipper. The Creality K2 Combo is for those seeking a compact, smart and budget-friendly entry into multicolor printing. Most hobbyists don't need a heated chamber and a build volume of 260 mm cubed is sufficient for the majority of prints. The Creality K2 Combo, in my opinion, is the best choice if you want the reliability of servo motors, a modern touchscreen interface and the freedom of open source Klipper firmware without paying a pro price. With its hardened steel nozzle, as well-known Creality Unicorn nozzle, you are able to print not only PLA and PETG, but also abrasive filaments like carbon fiber and forced filaments. Printing ABS may work if you let the build plate heat up the chamber for a while. The Creality CFS will keep the filaments stored in it dry as long as the desiccant bags are good. Therefore, you should check them from time to time and replace them with fresh ones if required. Also, the cutter will wear out after a while, especially when you use abrasive filaments. In case of abrasive filament, you should check it after printing 1 spool. For PLA, check it after printing about 10 spools. If it looks dull, replace it with a new one. There's a spare already included with the Creality K2 Combo. The Creality K2 Combo can be very noisy when printing at high speed. It provides 4 predefined settings in case you need it to go quieter or faster. The choices are silent, stable, standard and ultra. They reduce or increase the overall print speed and accelerations. Going from normal to stable or silent will definitely reduce the noise at the cost of longer print times, while choosing ultra-fast will reduce the print time at the cost of increased noise level and the mechanical wear of the printer. When I measured the noise, it never exceeded 50 decibels. On color changes, the noise level will go up maybe to 70 decibel, but go down as soon as the print continues. To be honest, when you see that colorful mountain of discarded plastic next to your model, it really makes you think about the efficiency of the process. It's a trade-off. You get these amazing creative results without post-painting, but you pay for it with massive increase in print time and a significant amount of wasted filament. I had only little problems, and if I had, the error messages in the display clearly stated what I had to do. If the K2 Combo sounds like the right balance for your workshop, check the Geekbuying purchase link in the description. You might want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. If you want to see how to push the firmware to its absolute limit, you should watch my video on Unlock your Creality K1's full Klipper potential next. Or, if you're still on the fence about the CFS system and want to see how other multicolor solutions compare, check out my review of the $289 multicolor upgrade your Creality K1 needs. It's a great way to see just how far the technology has come. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like the video if it helps you decide, and I'll see you in the next video.